This is Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Danger.
This is Terence Bud Crawford. Canelo versus Crawford. A true super...
When questioned about the impending massive contest between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, Jamal Charlo didn't mince words.
Hagler and Leonard and Duran and Tommy Hearns and those kind of fighters, and by the way, Sanchez and Gomez and the great fights from years ago. This is one of those, and you're all a part of it.
They claimed that a battle started long before the bell rang in the mornings when the city was still half asleep and two men decided to subject their bodies to the minor, unrelenting agonies that became legends individually. Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez were deeply involved in such rites throughout that camp. Every squad has its own universe. Moving up in weight to face Canelo at super middle, Crawford's training had appeared to be a concentrated metamorphosis. He carefully rebuilt his body with a game that went beyond simply gaining muscle to maintain the deft speed and accuracy that had kept him undefeated. His trainers made dietary and strength adjustments, so those extra pounds read his power instead of balancing it. His fitness was designed to maintain the fluidity that allowed him to choose shots and blend in, and he sparred with larger men. Conversely, Canelo's camp seemed to be a masterclass in controlled energy. In addition to performing the obvious tasks, pads, mitts, and rounds on the bag, he also incorporated unorthodox drills that were indicative of a career of honed instincts. He interspersed technical drilling with times that reminded everyone that, despite weighing 168 pounds, he was still an outstanding athlete. He also booted a soccer ball to keep his feet nimble and his vision keen. Teasers were released by both sides, and the story unfolded naturally. The veteran championship frame versus the small, ring-trained shooter. However, beneath the publicity and the footage, both fighters' daily routines were startlingly identical. The straightforward plot was muddied by size and history. Canelo contributed weight, experience winning championships, and the air of a man who had seen it all. Crawford contributed an unblemished record, a high ring IQ, and the courage to pursue a daring triumph that would solidify his place among the greats. On fight night, the weigh-in reports and the videos wouldn't be what was important. It would be the preparation that became moments, the snap judgments, the iron lungs, and the bravery to give and accept. And despite all the anticipation, a fight was actually won there. Prior to the bout, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. made a daring prediction. Bud was getting up a lot, even though there had been a lot of discussion about the weight differential. Jones Jr. said Crawford's increased muscle mass shouldn't have a significant impact on the fight. Terence has been putting on muscle, much like I did when I was a heavyweight, he remarked. You can defeat super middleweights and light heavyweights in combat if he can handle them in training. Even the weight shouldn't be a problem. Jones Jr. acknowledged in an interview with The Ring that if there was money involved, considering that the American boxer had a lot more possibilities to win than the Mexican superstar, he would have to wager on Crawford. Canelo does have a chance, and I think he could be victorious if he fights the exact right fight that he can fight, he stated. Crawford can win it in 6 different ways if he doesn't. In my opinion, a man with 6 different means to win would be more attractive than one with just one. Jones Jr. discussed more than just the impending super fight with The Ring. He also made an appearance on All the Smoke, when he expressed his worries about Canelo once more. The former world 4-weight champion thought Crawford was still hungry and focused on improving his fighting skills. He didn't go into detail as to why, but he wasn't sure if Canelo still had the same motivation. It was the first time Crawford had been unable to establish his dominance and overpower his opponent at will, especially after he had to cope with ring rust, move up to a new weight class, and navigate a challenging stylistic clash. That made some people question if Crawford had already reached his physical peak and if he is now past his most dominant performances. Canelo was coming off a poor victory over William Skull via unanimous decision, which shattered CompuBox records for all the wrong reasons, namely because of his lack of offensive activity. Canelo's performance prompted concerns about his ability to cut off the ring and his desire in latter phases of his career, even if Skull bears a large portion of the blame because he spent the majority of the fight circling the ring to avoid confrontation. Before career-changing evenings, questions concerning a fighter's skill based on their most recent performance have been raised innumerable times. And most of the time, observers following faulty leads have written them off as overreactions. In actuality, it might be argued that a fighter needs to weather these storms of uncertainty and come out stronger at least once in their career in order to attain the longevity and success required to be remembered as a Hall of Famer. Jeff Horn, meanwhile, has revealed his Canelo vs. Crawford prediction. He recounted how, in 2018, Crawford defeated Horn in the 9th round to win his first world welterweight title. Additionally, Horn thinks Canelo will probably try to get ahead quickly and overwhelm Crawford right away. But he can also picture Bud making it through the storm, overcoming the Mexican in the ensuing rounds after outwitting Canelo. Horn stated to Fight Hub TV, "It's either going to be a stoppage early for Canelo, just trying to batter Crawford because of the size difference, or Crawford outsmarts him in there and clips him and tires him out using his boxing skills and potentially finishes Canelo later in the fight like he did with myself." Regarding Crawford's prospects of defeating Canelo, he stated that he has really accurate shots and that if he can weather the storm early on, Canelo's approach may wear him out. Terence Crawford may then begin evaluating his ability to identify the openings and land the good ones. Shots. Later in the fight, he could undoubtedly wear Canelo down and stop him. It is certainly feasible. We also know that Andre Ward, a former world champion and boxing great, is considered by many to be among the sport's brightest minds. Because of his experience, he has been hired as an analyst for the Netflix broadcast of Terence Crawford vs. Canelo Alvarez. Ward has previously described what he anticipates seeing when Canelo and Crawford square off in the ring. Canelo stated last month in his Instagram story that his ring presence is one of his best qualities. He comes forward as like he is in charge, even when he is sleeping. Because they feel as though they can never relax, his opponents may become scared and exhausted as a result. Additionally, he stated, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are puncher boxers, not boxer punchers. Though it's not really what they want to do, they can both box. They wish to cause harm. They are either relaxing, reorganizing, or positioning themselves to perform their true desires when they box. However, I think both fighters should be boxer punchers come September. Although they are both capable of playing the power game, they cannot act carelessly regarding it. Ward did not clearly predict who he thought would win the battle in his prior study. However, in an interview with Fight Hype on August 29th, Ward made his prediction very plain and sent a clear message about who he thinks will win. "I'm going with Terence Crawford," he declared. "Large weight leap. A risky battle. But somebody has got to prove to that Terence Crawford's will can be broken and that he won't be able to use it against you. There isn't any contempt for Canelo. However, I have stated this. At this time, I'm not wagering against Terence Crawford against anyone. You must prove to me that you are capable of defeating him." In an appearance on the August 29th episode of Cigar Talk, Ryan Garcia stated that he did not anticipate Bud winning, but he thought Bud will perform well and throw a lot of punches. Bud might be able to tag Canelo, he said, but those shots probably wouldn't do anything.
Bud's gonna do good. He's gonna do good, but I don't think he's gonna win. But I do see Bud getting a lot of punches off, being able to tag Canelo with some good shots, but they have no effect. That's the thing.
He has the best chin that I've ever seen.
And nothing moves his head.
In his ultimate evaluation of the fight's result, Garcia continued, Crawford was a fantastic fighter, among the best. But he thought that Crawford might be pushing himself too far in his bout with Canelo.
One of the best. I just think that he's biting a little bit more than he could chew. But you never know. If anybody can do it, it could be Crawford. You know, I do see him when he fights. I'm like, damn, how do you beat this guy? You know, he could do it all. He could box. He bang.
Garcia, who previously thought Canelo would win, now seems to be shifting his position or realizing that Canelo has a much more difficult task ahead of him than he initially predicted. Canelo's intensity is my issue with him. According to a report by Dayon Boxing, Garcia stated, I think that's going to be the biggest issue for me because he doesn't have the same intensity that he used to have. Garcia went on, is he still able to counterpunch? Indeed. Is he still able to be cunning? Indeed. However, does he still possess the same level of vigor and intensity as when he was younger or even during his battle with Caleb Plant? Sincerely, I wonder if he will be able to make that second or third attempt. Considering that Canelo's issue is that Canelo ended up making strange defensive actions that put him out of position after Bivol delivered him 3 more bullets and 3 more movements. That concludes today's video. Please remember to hit the bell button, subscribe, and give a like if you liked it so you don't miss any of our next videos. Additionally, remember to leave a comment with your ideas. Keep checking back, and we'll see you at the next.